And welcome to another episode of Rick Explains the Bible. Last time we read Genesis 1 and we found that God created, basically everything in a mere 7 days. Sounds incredible? A lot of people believe it. Well, let's look at chapter 2 of Genesis as we go through the Bible and see what it really says. Chapter 2 starts like this: "And thus heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which had been made, and he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had made." So, Project Earth is finished. 6 days and poof, everything exists. And the people who believe this say, atheists, how can you say something comes from nothing? And as we move to verse 3, "And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." So God rested, and he made the seventh day holy. But the Christians came along and changed it to Sunday. The Christians took a lot of Jewish shit and changed it. But back to God. Why does God need a rest? I thought he was all powerful with no beginning and no end. So what does he do when he rests? Does he sit in a bar lounger and watch football? I don't know. Verse 4, "There are generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord made the heavens and the earth." So we have 7 days of creation, but earth and the heavens, they only took 1 day. So at least God was efficient. So recapping, God made the heavens and the earth in 1 day. And what was that? Was it a weekday? Imagine what God could have done if he'd taken like 1,000,000 years to develop the neighborhood. And let's face it, he's really lost control of it. We've got earthquakes and tornadoes and fires and volcanoes. They destroy everything. But it's called an act of God. We do know God has a temper. Sorry, spoiler alert. Verse 5, "And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there had not been a man to till the ground." So God's created this earth, and we got plants and herbs and rocks and things and herb. There was herb on the earth from the beginning. It's in the Bible. But it hadn't rained and nobody planted or weeded shit. So definitely this was some magic weed. Verse 6 tells us that there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So poof, God has an explanation. It's never rained, nobody's tilling the ground, but there's this mist, so God has a sprinkler system. Sounds kind of like Summerlin, or maybe all of Las Vegas. We have a sprinkler system of some kind to keep this all going. And I don't know, is it God's golf course? If it is, no Jews allowed. Let's go to verse 7. "And the Lord formed the man of the dust of the ground, and breathed of his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." So poof, the first Jew. Did everybody get that? God takes some dust, blows on it, then gives man mouth to mouth, and poof, man. I guess man had to be inflated first. "And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put man whom he had formed." So there's this garden, and God takes this claymation and he puts it down in the garden and calls it Eden. Somehow I'm picturing Gumby. Verse 9, "And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." So God makes food grow out of the ground, and trees are everywhere, but there's 2 special trees: the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life. And they're right in the middle of the garden because we wouldn't want them to be anywhere tempting, say. and they're front and center where our action will take place. And God made food to grow out of all the trees. Very convenient. You can just reach right up and pull it right off. But of these special trees, of course, the fruit of the garden, the fruit of the tree of knowledge and good and evil should not be eaten. And we'll have to read on to find out why. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and came into four heads. So we have a four-headed river leading out of Eden. Sounds a little bit like Medusa to me. Verse 11, the name of the first is Pison, that is which encompasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the first leads to gold. So we have one river that leads to gold. Well, we know religious people care a lot about gold, and God seems to always be broke because he's always asking for money. And the gold of this land is good, and there is bdellium and onyx stone and precious stones. Isn't it funny how people place so much value on a rock? And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is that it compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in the book of Genesis. And there was an Ethiopia. Boy, that's not popularly bandied about. You don't hear much about Ethiopia being biblical, just starving. Verse 14. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel, and that is which goes toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth is the river Euphrates. 4 rivers, and Assyria, the ancient lands. Yep, all there before Israel, even in the Bible. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden and dressed it to keep it. And just like that, the first man has a job. He didn't ask for a job. Created, boom, got to go to work. Got to create that illusion of the work ethic, the Christian work ethic. Wait a minute, there's no Christians yet. Hard work and get screwed is the reality. Verse 16, and the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest eat freely. And God said, eat, eat, all you want. The Garden of Eden is a buffet. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day thou shalt eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. But if you eat of the tree of knowledge, you will die the day you eat of it. Man's not allowed to know the knowledge of good and evil. That's top secret information only for God. This part is going to be a problem for the Bible bangers because Adam eats the fruit and doesn't immediately die. Neither does Eve. Well, maybe God was exaggerating. Or maybe it's a long-acting poison that takes, say 700 years. Maybe it's time release. Verse 18, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet. And man needs something to fuck other than sheep. Verse 19, and out of the ground the Lord formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And so Adam names, everything. And you notice the animals also come right out of the ground. Things just appear out of the ground. Verse 20, and Adam gave names to the cattle, and the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But Adam there was not found an helpmeet. He named them all, but he couldn't find any of them that were a mate. Maybe not for trying. A little animal husbandry, maybe? Verse 21, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So God basically roofies Adam and takes out a rib. You know, I always picture God playing Operation at this point, and you just hear, eh! Verse 22, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And from the rib he made woman. Verse 23, And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken of man." And Adam immediately asserts his superiority to the woman. He also has entered into a relationship with an intersex or a hermaphrodite. Wait, what? The Bible really fucked that up, didn't they? Verse 24, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So a man shall leave his father and mother." Wait, Adam and Eve didn't have a father and mother? What's he talking about? They had an invisible being that breathed them into some dirt. Okay, it's all beginning to make sense now, right? Verse 25, "And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed." So they were free and easy nudists, as we were all meant to be. Clothes are uncomfortable. Let's all get naked. Okay, maybe not all of us. And that's it for today's chapter 2 of Genesis in Rick Explains the Bible. As you can see, this is much like a Sheldon Cooper Presents Fun with Flags production. If you like it, please press like, and I'll keep making these simply because I have nothing better to do. Well, have a great day.